Here it comes, guys. That post-Eurovision depression. Hi guys, and welcome back to another Lukeovision video, and I just want to welcome you back to my channel. And guys, before anybody says anything, yes, I know, Eurovision is over for another year. Well, until December at least. And I know that we've faced post-Eurovision depression for like 2 years now because of COVID and the cancellation in 2020. However, I am still here to try and lift your spirits by bringing you Eurovision content all the way through the year until the season starts up again. And if you have any suggestions and anything that you want me to do on this channel, funny skits, reaction videos, carpool karaoke, any ideas are more than welcome. I'm going to be starting up some brand new series just for you guys. Because as we all know, Eurovision isn't just an interest. It's a lifestyle. And I want to keep making Eurovision content to get us through to the next season because as we know, it can be such a drag. So, kicking us off in today's video, if you hadn't guessed by the title down below, it is a little bit of a Euro battle. That's right, because we are going to be comparing the songs of 2020 with the songs of 2021. Bang, bang. That's right, because I found this season so exciting. And what makes this battle particularly exciting is that lots of the same artists from 2020 have come back for 2021. So we're going to be having a look at some of the old songs versus the new songs and seeing which one really stood the test of time. The OG or the comeback kid. And before we get cracking, guys, I want to know what you think. I want to know if you prefer the songs from 2020 or you love the class of 2021. Drop your comment down below in that comment section. I can't wait to see which year you preferred from which country. So let's do this. Enough fuss. Let's discuss. So how this is going to work, guys, is I've got my CD from Open Up 2021. We're going to go through the tracks in the order that they are on the CD, and I'll be comparing the songs from each country, both from 2020 to 2021. I'll then keep a tally chart, and at the end of this video, I'll reveal to you my winner, either 2020 or 2021. And be sure to drop your opinion down below, guys, too. I really want to know what you think, because this channel isn't about me, it's about the community, and I want to know your opinions on each and every one of these songs. And before we get cracking, here is a special shout out to Armenia, we miss you, and Belarus 2020, Val Davidna, legends. Right, so let's do this. Kicking things off is Albania. Now 2020 brought us Arilena Ara and 2021 brought us Angela. And I must say, I do prefer 2021, guys. It's so much more dramatic, there's a lot of girth, it's more heartfelt, it's a good Balkan ballad, and I love the ethnicity behind it. Then we have Austria. Now Vincent Bueno did not disappoint with each of his tracks, Alive and Amen, both of which are the opposite ends of the spectrum. Alive, like, hey, I'm here, and Amen, like, death. Both times, I think he really brought quality work, and I must say, I do prefer 2021. There's just so much more emotion behind the track, and it's something you can really sink your teeth into and just let loose and sing along to. So heartfelt, so passionate, I love it. However, I did find it pretty hard because Alive was a bop. Next up is Australia. Now, I found this one very, very tricky because Montaigne is so unique and she has such a great artistry about her. But in the end, I did go with 2021. Just because Don't Break Me was a little bit too avant-garde and a little bit too quirky. It wasn't for me. I think 2021 she brought a quirky bop, whereas in 2020 she brought a quirky out-of-the-box kind of power ballad. Very experimental. But you know me, I'm a plastic pop boy through and through. I just love that she managed to showcase her vocals as well as supply a good old bop. And who doesn't love a key change? Then we have Azerbaijan, and this one really conflicted me, guys, but in the end, for Effendi, I did select Cleopatra. You can't be the OG in this case. Mata Hari even includes Like Cleopatra, I mean, she's sampling her own song, and if that's not an Easter egg or a nod or testament to the OG, I don't know what is. I don't think you could beat Cleopatra. It was so fierce, it was top 5 material, it embodied so much female empowerment, and I do feel like Mata Hari was a little bit of a knockoff of Cleopatra. Even though I really like Mata Hari, Cleopatra just edges it for me. And next up we have Belgium, and for Hooverphonic, I definitely went for 2021. This wasn't too much of a hard decision for me. I feel like it's such a grower and it has so much more darkness and moodiness and a different energy to it, and it just hits differently. And it's so wholesome because they went back to their original singer. It's dark and moody and eerie. I like it. Then we move on to Bulgaria, and Victoria was back 2020 and 2021. This was a no-brainer for me, guys. I went straight for 2020. Tears Getting Sober was just, oh, magical. It was so soft and subtle and just different to the other songs in the competition. I kind of feel like 2021 tried to replicate that a little bit, but 2020 was where it was at. It was in my top 5, that's for sure. Then we have Switzerland, and it's pretty much the same sentiment here. John's Tears, Répondez-moi. At first, didn't really like it, but it did grow on me, and I must say, I do actually prefer it to the 2021 offering. Definitely winner vibes from 2020 and 2021, let's be fair. He's unstoppable! Next up, Cyprus, and this was a no-brainer. Of course I went for 2021. I did like Sandro and Running, however, it was just a little bit too repetitive, a little bit too generic, it kind of dance spot for me. And I know, guys, you're gonna say,
well, El Diablo's generic, it's a Lady Gaga ripoff.
If I've seen it once, I've seen it 10,000 times. I love it! I think it's so good, it's such a banger, it's power pop. That hook, that rhythm, that melody, I absolutely love it, and Elena was so fierce. Pop perfection. Then we have Czech Republic and the return of Benny Cristo, and I definitely went for 2021. 2020, I'm still not 100% sure on it, but 2021 was that much more contagious, infectious, feel good, and it definitely brought the party vibes. Then we have Germany, and guys, yet again, you know how much I love Jendrik. I went for 2021, and a lot of you are going to find that very controversial, but I did like 2020. That was an instant hit, and then it just kind of grew off of me. Whereas 2021 in Jendrik's song, I really like the message behind it. I think it's positive, it's a ray of sunshine. The melody's catchy. I love that the lyrics are quite unique and very, very different. And it's fun and vibrant. I kind of feel that after a little while, Violent Thing is a little bit forgotten about. Just my opinion. Then we have Denmark, and you guys are not going to be surprised. Obviously, I went for 2020. Ben and Tan, I completely preferred that to Fire and Flame. There was a lot more passion, a lot more grit, a lot more emotion. They definitely put themselves in that performance. Whereas 2021 just, it didn't sit right with me, I'm afraid. Bit too cheesy, too 80s for me, says the guy in the headband. Next up, Estonia, and Uku came back, and I must say I do prefer 2021. I kind of feel like he put a lot more emotion into it, and his vocals were so much better. They weren't bad in 2020, but 2021 he really got to show off his voice a lot better. I love that it's a bit more gritty, and I love the dark and deep tones to his voice as well. What Love Is kind of felt a little bit rushed, and the melody was very crammed in the chorus, whereas 2021 kind of feels like he took his time a bit more and he's really honed in his craft. Spain! Yes, next up, Blas Canto came back for 2021. I love both songs. I found this one particularly difficult, but in the end, I think Universo did just tip the edge. I do love Voy Quedarme. What a heartfelt ballad. But as soon as I heard Universo, I was hooked. Great chorus, great catchy hook in there. It was everything. Finland up next, and this is going to come at no surprise to anyone, but they were my #1 for 2021. Of course, I'm going to pick Blind Channel, Dark Side. Linkin Park vibes. I love that it's violent pop. It's kind of its own genre. I love that it is violent pop, but it has a very good message behind it. And yes, this can be masked over by some violent lyrics and a very heavy instrumentation, and quite frankly, some scary vocals. But it's girthy, it's gritty, it's emotive. They put so much energy in it, enthusiasm, 100%. Of course, I've gone for 2021. Next up, France. Okay, without a shadow of a doubt, of course, I have gone for Barbara. No words about 2020. 2021 was everything. She was so much more emotive. I loved that it went from the 20s, but it also had a modern twist to it. It was a classic era kind of music that just is timeless. Next up, UK, and of course, James Newman came back for Nil Point. However, I much prefer it. The 2020 offering of My Last Breath, it was just a little bit stagnant for me. It's just the chorus was very drawn out, whereas Embers brought a party. I was vibing. I love it. I loved it from when I first heard it. I loved it on the night, and yes, I still love it now, even though there was Nil Point. Then we have Georgia, and Tourniquet really supplied in 2020, and that's why I selected his track in 2020. I'm sorry, 2021 it fell so flat for me. It took like a minute and a half to get going. I was really waiting for some sort of climactic build in the song, and it was just, the instrumentation was very, very nice. I'll give him that. It was composed so beautifully. The music is magical, but the vocal line didn't do anything for me. It kind of dragged the song down, whereas 2020 really had a depth to it and a deep meaning, and I was so here for him making a statement. So powerful and strong. Next up we have Greece. Now Stefania in 2020, she brought us such an ethnic bop. I love the Middle Eastern sound that Supergirl brought. However, 2021, Last Dance, that is how you do an 80s aesthetic in a song and do it right. It had this 80s aesthetic but mixed perfectly with a contemporary sound. It was so Dua Lipa. I love the vibes. I've come dressed like Stefania today if you hadn't noticed. And I feel like for her, that was definitely a song more suited to her than Supergirl was. Her artistry came on perfectly. Right, next up is Croatia, and I'm sorry that Damir wasn't here for 2021, but I'm so pleased Albina came along. Wow, TikTok was so modern, such a bop, and it is a travesty that it did not qualify for the finals. Don't know what happened there. It's an absolute masterpiece. I love it. And for this battle, I am selecting 2021 because it was so nice to see Croatia bring something modern, upbeat, funky, fresh, trendy. And even though they didn't qualify, I hope it sets a trend for the future for Croatia because they do bop so well. Next up, we have Ireland. Now, I wasn't too keen on Story of My Life. It was a bit power pop 2010 Disney Channel-esque, wasn't it? However, Maps, wow. At first, I wasn't sold. It took me a few listens, but now I am jamming. I love the staging. And again, justice for Leslie Roy because her not qualifying was atrocious. Staging was amazing. Her vocals weren't exactly on point, but the song, it's so kind of magical and Disney Pixar, isn't it? It's so good. I love it. So 2021 for me. Then we have Israel. I was obsessed with Eden Elene in 2020, just as obsessed with her in 2021. Her personality is everything. 2020, she brought me a song that was in my top 3 without a shadow of a doubt. I love the different languages she got in there. I love how ethnic it was. She was living her best life. But then when she came out with Set Me Free in 2021, wow, goodbye Feka Lubi. I am all about Set Me Free, and it was one of my favourites from the get-go, even before the revamp. It really got me in the party spirit. It made me feel good. It was so positive. There was a lot of energy. She had so much enthusiasm, and those whistle notes, perfection. So 2021 it is. Then we have Iceland, and guys, it needs to be said, 2021 and 2020, they both brought that Daddy Freya sound. It was so 80s, but it was fun with a novelty factor in it. I love that both songs were so quirky, but at the same time, they had a lovely message behind them. But I did vote for the OG. I don't think you can top Think About Things. I love it. So 2020 for Iceland. Right, and next up we have Italy. Now, guys, I really do like both of these songs, but you know, my number one for 2020 was Italy, Fai Rumore. I think that could have been a surprise winner for 2020. So let's just go ahead and say that Italy done the double, 2020 and 2021. But I am a Diodato fanboy. He stole my heart. He stole my money. 2020 for Italy for me. I love the angle that the lyrics come at, and his voice is like silk. And then on the opposite side, you've got Maneskin, and the lead singer's voice is like sandpaper, but in a good way. It's like so growly and gravelly. Then we have Lithuania, and guys, it must be said, the Roop are my gods. I absolutely love them. And this is what I've found with acts that have come back. I have a bit of an attachment to them, but I must say, On Fire was so quirky, and it was the OG, but I don't know how they did it. But in my opinion, they outdid themselves when they had Discotheque. Wow, what a moment. What a trend. What icons. Again, another great message. Lose your inhibitions. It's okay to dance alone. When you're in public, dance like you're dancing alone. Aesthetics on point. Dance moves on point. Everything was bigger and better for 2021 in my opinion. Next up, we have Latvia. Samantha Tina is a quirky queen and I'm so here for it. But guys, 2021 wasn't really my bag. I like the message the song portrays. However, 2020 was just... it was a hot mess, but it was an amazing hot mess. What a crazy instrumentation. The music was here, there, everywhere. And it really put her on the map. To be honest, I feel like anything she releases after that is going to be a bit flat in comparison. Next up, Moldova. Natalia was back yet again, but she was so contrasting. 2020, she brought us this heartfelt, emotional prison with a deep message behind it. Then 2021, she was like, nah, that was boring. She brought us some sugar. Wow. It was like a completely different person on that stage. She owned it. She smashed it. Even if she was a little bit creepy from smiling the whole time while singing sexual innuendos. Bit creepy, but I kind of vibed with it. And who can forget the big note? Europe! 2021 for me. Next up, we have North Macedonia, and it's got to be said, I'm not really a big fan of either of these songs, both of which place quite low in my tops, 2020 and 2021. But if I have to make a decision, I'm going to go for 2020, just because it's the one I would skip the least and I would keep on. Then Malta, I found this one very hard indeed, because both songs showed off Destiny's vocal style in a completely different way. 2020, All of My Love, brought us that soulful element, and it was just classy, to be honest with you. It was Destiny, but it was like watching the queen perform. In 2021 brought us this attitude and charisma, and I love seeing her flourish on stage. She owned it. She was having so much fun. She owned the stage, she owned that song, and she owns my heart. Giving it to 2021. Next up we have the Netherlands, and both songs again. I feel like both of them are quite groundbreaking. I love how ethnic 2021 is. It really brought us a different vibe and a different side. 2020 was a song that needs to be heard by a lot of people to really help people get through difficult times. However, 2021, it was so feel good. His voice is like silk. I love him. I kind of low-key want him to be my stepdad. He's so fun-loving and bubbly, and the song just lifted my spirit. So 2021 has it. Next up, Norway. Now guys, Ulrik in 2020 didn't really get me at first. I was a bit like, oh, this is okay. I like the vocal progression and the arrangement, but then it really did grow on me and I really started to like it, and it was slowly but surely climbing at my top. And it is exactly the same with Ticks. At first, didn't really get it. I thought it was a bit weird. And then the more I listened to it, boom, 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 boom. And out of both of them, it was Ticks that grew the most on me. And I even bought some wings in tribute to Ticks. He takes it for me for 2021. Great message behind the song. I love the vocal line. I love the arrangement. I love how he wasn't afraid to put himself out there. Love him. And I want to adopt him. Then we have Poland. And this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, guys. Sorry about it, but based on the song, not about any sort of political propaganda or anything like that I've been reading, we're going to push that to the side for a moment. Based on the music, 2021 was my guilty pleasure this year, Poland. The ride was everything. I enjoyed the ride, and I'd definitely ride again. It was very 80s. Yes, it was cheesy, but it was my guilty pleasure of the competition. Whereas 2020 was a little bit too, I don't know, bland for me. It would have been nice to see her come back for 2021. That goes without saying. However, based on the music and the song, it is 2021. Portugal, yet again, 2021 takes it for me. The vibe was so different. It was a timeless kind of music, and it works both from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 10s, 20s. It works no matter when you play it. He has a good vibe about him. He has a lovely tone to his voice. 2020 was nice. It was quite quirky. It was a nice song, but that's all it was for me, was nice. And 2021, again, is nice, but it hits differently. When you're in the right mood, a tearjerker. Next up we have Romania, and Roxanne was back for round 2, baby. And both songs had good messages behind them. I love that Alcohol You had a different meaning within the title when you sung it and when the music was put together. But also 2021 really brought us a deep message about inner struggles and inner strength. And I must say, 2021 hits differently. Amnesia slaps. It really does. It's so modern, fresh, contemporary, and it's a travesty that it didn't qualify, if I'm being honest. Yes, you can complain about the vocals. However, the song is great. She's relatable, she's fresh, she's modern, she's current. And I'm just going to put it out there. Hashtag justice for Roxanne. Next up, Serbia. I did not think they would be able to outdo themselves with Hasta La Vista. But guys, I think they did. Loco Loco is just mental, isn't it? It's so mad. But they pulled it off without a hitch. They owned the stage. They got all their vocals on point. They're 3 very talented ladies. They were sassy. They were sultry. They were cool. They just oozed charisma. I can't compliment them enough. I do prefer 2021 because it had that extra impact and oomph behind the song. I'm not saying Hasta La Vista didn't, but when you compare the two, I think Loco Loco was literally Loco Loco. The title emulated the whole song. Next up for Russia, now Little Big didn't come back. We had Nisha instead, and both songs are great. I love what 2020 brought, the electro rave kind of factor. I also love what 2021 brought, the more traditional sounds, great vocals. But guys, when push comes to shove, they're both very different, but I'm going to give it to 2020. Little Big are genius. I love everything about them. I love the electro rave style. Their songs are just so quirky and weird. They're so out there. But they're the kinds of songs I will play over and over again. They're so good. Love Little Big. Next up we had Sweden. And guys, for this one, I did go for 2021. Yes, Tuesday took it for me, and a lot of people aren't going to agree with me. However, I feel like the message is so much more relevant to 2021, and he has great vocals on him. He's so quirky. He has great stage presence. The Mamas, yes, they were fun. I loved Move at the time, but it really has grown off of me. I know you could argue that both songs are quite generic, but I do find that the Mamas Move was a little bit more generic than Voices. I feel like Voices had a little bit more variation within the chorus, and it really just keeps you engaged the more the song goes on. Then we have Slovenia, and Anna was back yet again. I'm so pleased these artists got to return and they had the choice. And as much as I like Voda in 2020, I must say, guys, amen in 2021. Just blew Voda away. Voda was nice, but it was just very drawn out, and at certain times I was kind of like, are we over yet? Like when I was listening to the song. Whereas Amen, wow, the song had a lot more variation in it. She really showed off her vocals yet again. Her voice is so deep, it's so rich. I could listen to her all day. And you got to think of the backing vocals as well towards the end of the song. I love how the music really builds up towards the end. It was great. It was so much better than 2020 in my opinion, and I'm glad she came back so she could execute that track and really show off her talent. Okay, next up, San Marino. And is this even a competition, guys? I did love Freak. It was different, it was out of the box, it was quirky, it was unique. 2021 though, and Adrenalina Zenit smashed it. She came back so current, so fresh, and bigger and better than ever. What a quirky queen, freaky queen. Goes to 2021. I mean, and that's even without Flow Rider. There was an ethnic drop in there. It was so radio friendly, catchy, lovely hook in there. I think it's no competition, and it is a travesty how it performed in the televote. Still don't understand that to this day. And last but not least, we have Ukraine. Now, both songs are quite similar in the fact that Go A have stayed true to themselves. They're singing with white voice, they're using all of these native instruments, very traditional. The themes are quite traditional in the songs. Both songs have great stories behind them about folklore. Overall, they're very captivating. No matter what they are singing, you cannot stop watching them. However, based on the music and based on the songs, Shoom 2021 takes it for me. It just builds and builds and builds and builds, and then it explodes. It's like you are watching that on stage when they're performing. I mean, the staging was a little bit wacky, and I don't know what it had to do with the song. However, musicality-wise, it did build and explode everywhere. Ending on that long high note, it was just, there was things popping up all over the place that kept you engaged. Bam, bam, boom, zap, pow, whack. Your attention was all over them the entire time. And who doesn't love a great big EDM drop? Here's looking at you, Nush. So guys, there we have it. That was my battle showcasing the songs from 2020 to 2021. And I can reveal the winners are 2021. I feel like it was so strong this year, guys. It was epic. And I must say, I think it's one of the strongest years we've seen in a while. So overall, 2021 scored 28 points and 2020 scored 11 points. Sorry, but 2021 blew you out of the water. Even with the inclusion of Armenia and Belarus, 2020 would be on 13. So 2021 still would have won. What I want to know, guys, is what did you think? Who are your favourites? Which year is supreme? 2020 or 2021? Let me know all of your thoughts down below in that comment section. I can't wait to see what you guys have to say. But that's all from me today, guys, and all from this video. If you enjoy a good old Euro battle, don't you forget to hit that thumbs up button, that subscribe button, and that bell notification button. That way you can stay up to date with all of the videos I have coming on this channel, because don't you worry, even though Eurovision 2021 is over, content will still be coming. Just let me know what you want to see. But that's all from me today, guys, and all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for watching. Please stay safe and look after yourselves, and I will see you in the next one. Now take care, everybody. Goodbye.